everybody. We are back. It is Tuesday, and we're doing some life coach talk. And I have decided, after having done a lot of life coaching, to share with you different scenarios that actually did take place. Some life coaching situations, or what happened, or what was said, and how things were dealt with. Because it's one thing just to get a question, because you get lots of questions. It's hard to give advice when you don't know all the aspects of someone's life, and you don't know what they like or don't like. And like if somebody says, I want to lose 40 pounds, it's easy to say, well, eat this, and this, and do these exercises. But you don't know that person. You don't know what their habits are, and you don't know what they crave, or you don't know why they eat, when they eat. You don't know if it's just a metabolism that's they inherited from somebody in the family, because you know how it is in families. The mother and father usually built a little different. They have different characteristics, and some kids take after more one or the other. So some things you can't change. So in life coaching, you have to know about that person. So when I'm coaching someone and I'm having a session with somebody, I got to talk to them. I got to find out what's in their heart. Got to find out what's in their head. I have to find out what's most important to you. Because life coaching is not psychiatry. Psychiatry deals with the past. I say, advice corrects the future. But life coaching, advice corrects the present. Life coaching creates the future. So I like to create a future. Where is this going? Where are we going with this? So an interesting thing that happened to me in one of the life coaching sessions. This is the thing that I fear the most. The thing I feared the most has come upon me. I get a call from somebody, and this guy is a professional athlete, right? Who is also a life coach and has been a life coach for many years. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get schooled here. I've just been doing it for 6 weeks, right? And this guy, I know who he is, and but he's calling me. So I'm like, okay, how can I help you? Of all people, professional athlete, also was a life coach, and life coaching to a lot of people who are in athletics, and what to do with their lives, and there's a whole different dynamic that happens with somebody who's an athlete. Anyway, so even somebody who is a life coach can be moved forward with a healthy perspective, a new perspective. And it could be something really simple. And sometimes that's the case. It usually is something simple, but like in those cold case files, and they look at a crime, and you've seen them on TV, and 30 years later, some new guy comes in, and he goes over the same evidence, and he sees something that nobody else saw. Look at this car. There's a half a license plate picture on this car. And then they trace it down. Next thing you know, they got the guy, they're arresting him. So sometimes it's not so much that you are so much better or you're more skilled. It's just that sometimes you can see things that somebody else is not. So this guy's situation was unusual, and he couldn't get a handle of which way to go. So here's the situation. So it comes and he says, I love being a professional athlete. I love what I do. But I love teaching as well. And I love coaching and coaching people in athletics, in what I do. But I'm trying to figure out what to devote most of my time to, because it feels like I have to make a decision which way to go. And I just don't know, because I love both things, and I can't figure out what's the most important and how to approach it. So, from my experience, usually if somebody is an athlete, or they do something well, they love to instruct other people on how to accomplish that. I mean, it's something that they worked hard for, and if they're a good person, giving hard, they want to share that with somebody. That's why a lot of these athletes, they'll coach like little leagues or football teams, junior football teams or whatever. But this particular guy loved teaching, and even got into being a serious life coach, and because he loved it so well. But was at a dilemma because couldn't really do both at the same time. Couldn't be a professional athlete because that needs a whole different type of dedication, and do the teaching and the coaching as well. So it had to be one or the other. And I asked them, I says, when you're teaching, do you ever feel like you just sort of run out of information, or do you feel like you just get the itch to just go back and perform again? I mean, because at some given point you're going to retire. It's athletics. I mean, it has a certain shelf life. And he says, it's an interesting thing. He says, because I love teaching the things that I've learned, but on the field, but once I teach them, I want to learn more because I want to do better. And I said, well, I tell you what, it appears to me that the motivating thing for you, number one, is your athletic career. And the reason I say that is because as you go out and do something, the secondary thing you like to do is then teach what you've done. Teach somebody how to do what you've just done. After you've taught what you've done and how to do it, you want to go learn some new things because you want to perform. And then you want to teach after that. So the number one thing that you should be focusing in on right now is the hunger and the passion that you have to perform as a professional athlete. Because you're going to accrue information. That information is going to inspire you to, in turn, teach. The more information you have, the more you want to teach it. The more experiences you have, the more you want to share them. So it appears as if your main focus is your professional athletic career. So I'd focus on that. And when you get to a point where you just want to teach again, you just filled up with so much info, there's a part of you that is just a natural teacher. So you can dial this down and go more heavily into teaching because you'll have more to offer. Now, to them, everything you say is going to be great, but to you, to keep you inspired, you have to have new input coming in. So I think your primary focus would be on your athletic career, because that's where you're going to get the most information on how to actually apply the things that you teach, to see what works and what doesn't work, what mindset you should have and what mindset doesn't work on the field of a competition. And it was like a light went off. It was like, that's it. Sometimes it just takes somebody from the outside. And the second thing they said was, but with teaching, you have to schedule events, and you have to have somebody that kind of arranges this thing for you. And so you have to find people, and you have to find like an agency and all the rest of that. And I said, well, this is something I know a little bit about because, it's booking, really, what you're talking about. Booking, and, I've been getting booked in churches and concert venues for 40 years. So usually the people that are going to do the best for you are going to be the people that believe in you and want to participate with anything you do no matter what. They're not coming to you as a specific skill set and saying, this is what I want to do, and if I can't do this, I don't want to do anything. It's the people that come to you and say, whatever you need to have done, I want to help. I said, that's a person that can learn. I said, do you have anybody in your life like that who's just saying, I'll do anything, what do you need, what kind of help do you need? And he said, it just so happens that last week a friend of mine came to me who's good with numbers and skills, and those type of skills, and says, hey, if you ever need anything, I just want to help you out. I want to participate in what you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is, anything. I says, that's your person. I said, God's already provided for you, that person. I says, and it's better for you because you're kind of custom making your way through this. You're not going through a traditional route, so you're going to need somebody that's going to have to learn what you do. And I would say this to most people who are looking for somebody to help them further their lives and their ministry: look to the people that are immediately around you. When I did coliseums and I did stadiums, we were doing 20, 30, 70,000 people a night. The guy who was booking it was a guy who I had known for a few years, and I happened to see him working at Foot Locker at the mall. And I knew he was a hustler. I knew he was aggressive. I knew he was a salesman. And I asked him, I says, hey, how would you like to come book me? He says, well, I kind of got a job over here at Foot Locker. I said, well, I know, but I think if you can sell those tennis shoes, I think you could probably sell me to a church. So this is the guy that came to work for me, and he was the one who did all the stadiums. And it just takes somebody that feels what you do and is dedicated to you, to grow with you, to help you accomplish that. So that's a real life scenario. And that happened from someone who was actually a life coach. Because sometimes in life you sort of get a little blind spot, but that's what life coaches do. I have to find out what's in their life, what's the most important thing to them. So next week, we'll come up with another one.